Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you. Okay.
Sometimes it pays off.
All right. Well, the band's gathering up here. I'm Nero Harris. I'm the programming librarian here at the Ulm Public Library. So thank you very much for coming out to our concert with the Nintentones today. They came last year and it was a blast, and so we're excited to have them back as part of their tour of southern Minnesota. They're making their way through the libraries of Brown County. They were at Sleepy Eye yesterday. Yes. How did that go, guys?
It's great.
Great. Okay. And you're going to be in Comfrey next week on
Yes.
Thursday. Okay. So if you want to see them more than once, you'll have a couple opportunities. But we're very grateful to the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund for making concerts like this possible. If you enjoy things like this, please let us know because we'll see what we can do to make it happen. Again, if you have kids or with any ears that get sensitive to loud sounds, we do have headphones in the back to help with that. And at the end of the program, it would be really helpful if you filled out a short, just half-sheet survey that goes along with the grant to make it possible for us to continue these programs. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ryan, and we'll get things going.
Thank you. You guys set?
Yep.
1, 2, and 3 from the years 1985, 1988, and 1990. And for this next piece, we're going to stay within the Mario realm, but fast forward to the year 1997, and we're going to feature our trombone player, Mr. Nate Barron. Everybody give it for Nate Barron. The New Ulm resident, so our hometown hero today. He also plays with a bunch of different groups, including the Donner Party, and then I believe he just finished a run of Cinderella at Minnesota State in Mankato. And we are going to feature Nate on a piece from Super Mario 64 called Baba Battlefield. piece was tuned from 2010's Wii Party called Swap Meet. As Leroy said, this performance today is all grant funded, and normally at this point I would read a statement, but Leroy's already taken care of that. But I do want to stress, I think, just the value of arts grants such as the one that brought us here today. In fact, this is our second season doing performances, and we began last year thanks to a different grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board. And so I feel like it's really worth just kind of stressing how important it is that taxpayers and voters such as yourselves give artists such as us the opportunity to come and play for you. So on behalf of myself and the rest of the bands, thank you. So for our next piece, we're going to feature our keyboard player, Mr. Peter Jacobs. Everybody give it up for Peter Jacobs. Peter also plays with a number of different groups, including Caleb Brown Schultz and the Nightingale Band, and the Throughline Jazz Quartet, which will be playing at Morgan Creek Winery on July 5th. So go enjoy some wine and pizza and jazz. 4th of July weekend out there. We're going to feature Peter on a tune from the 2017 game Hollow Knight. This one is called Dartmouth. tune called Death by Glamour from the 2015 release Undertale. At this point, I would just like to draw your attention to our merchandise table, headed by our merchandise supervisor, Dr. Sammy Cowger. Everybody give it up for Dr. So we have t-shirts for sale over there, adult and youth sizes. We also have stickers to give away, so if you want a sticker, go bother Sammy about that. So buying merchandise is a great way to support us financially, but another really great and easy way to support us is just to like and follow us on social media. We have pages on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Liking and following, or if you want to take a step further by commenting or sharing our posts, goes a long way to get our stuff in front of people who might want to come to shows like this in the future. So if you feel so inclined to do that, we really appreciate any sort of engagement we can get on our social media platforms. Speaking of, the awesome crew here in Ulm Public Library is recording this very show, and as I understand it, we'll be posting it onto the Ulm Public Library YouTube page sometime maybe within the next week and a half or so. So keep your eye out for that if you want to relive today just over and over again. From here, we're going to travel back to the year 1998 to another staple video game franchise, and we're going to introduce our saxophone player, Mr. Evan Beer. Everybody give for Evan Beer, please. Evan is the jazz band director at Bethany Lutheran College in Mankato and plays with a number of different groups, including Joe Tugas and Associates and the Jazz 10, which will be performing at Indian Island Winery on May 31st. So go enjoy some wine and pizza and jazz over there. We're going to feature Evan on a tune from Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is Song of Storms. featured our trumpet player, Mr. Tom Beard. Everybody give it Tom Beard. Tom is a retired band director, even from from New Ulm, as of just a handful of years ago, maybe. So definitely almost a near resident here in Tom Beard. He also plays with a number of different groups, including the Dan Duffy Orchestra and his own grant-funded project, the Minnesota River Bend Brass Choir, which also played here last December. And we can expect, I don't know where we'll play yet this December, but probably another 4 shows in southern Minnesota. It's a 17-piece brass and percussion ensemble that plays holiday music in the month of December at different churches. So keep an eye out for that. It's a pretty awesome project. On this next piece, we're going to travel back to the year 1997 for another franchise video game staple, and we're going to feature our bass player, Mr. Eric Zimmerman. Everybody go for Eric Zimmerman. Eric is the band director at Mankato East High School in Mankato and one of the assistant directors of the Lancers Marching Band there, and runs his own jazz outfit called the Easy Jazz, which occasionally plays at the Grand here in New Ulm. So keep an eye out for their programming. I'm sure we'll be back there at some point. We're going to feature Eric on Final Fantasy VII's Aerith's theme. from Cuphead, released back in 2017. And I think at this point we need to give a couple shout outs. First of all, to Leroy Harris. I think he must be out doing Director of Library Business, but Leroy was instrumental in bringing us here today. And to the other Brown County libraries. As he said, we were in Sleepy Eye last night, and then next Saturday we're doing a doubleheader in Hanska, followed by Comfrey. So if you feel like checking out another live show, we're going to do 2 next Saturday. That's on the 10th. On the 17th, we're in Mankato at Bethany Lutheran College, opening for our friends in the Southern Minnesota Real Big Band, which is like a true big band. So that'll be a great show. We'll open for them, and they'll play a lot of awesome jazz after that. Let's see, I think that covers the rest of our shows. But again, thanks to Leroy and the rest of the excellent staff here at Ulm Public, including the tech crew who's recording. They've been great today. Thank you all for coming. This last piece is called KK Cruisin'. It's from the 2001 release, Animal Crossing. Thanks for coming, everybody.
What do you guys think? Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Again, we're grateful to the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund for making things like this possible. So if you like it, please, let us know. I'm getting distracted by the Zelda 2 music over there. As I mentioned, we do have a short survey at the back, just a half sheet. We'd be really grateful if you filled that out. You don't have to put your name or anything. Just answer a couple questions, circle them. But again, thank you so much for coming, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Let's give them one more round of applause.